Yo, 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 what is up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Chris Silva, and on this channel, I want to teach you all about creative finance, real estate, and what you need to do to go out there to start doing deals, or if you're already doing deals, what you can do to start doing more deals. On this channel, I'm going to bring you along my journey to $1 billion real estate portfolio. That is the goal, to build $1 billion real estate portfolio. I can't do it alone. I can only do it with like-minded individuals exactly like you. So if you want to start doing deals with me, make sure you join my morning Zoom call every single Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And don't forget to show some love, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how you should be negotiating a seller finance deal and what are some of the things that you should be looking out for when negotiating a seller finance deal. Let's get right into it. Now, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. Seller finance deal is basically what it sounds like. This is when the seller becomes your bank. So now the next questions are, well, Chris, what kind of terms are we going to come up with the seller? Well, typically when you walk up into a bank, the bank gives you the terms. However, most of the time you can't negotiate with the bank. In this case, when a seller becomes your bank, terms are all negotiable. And my favorite line to say is, I'll give you the price that you want if you give me the terms that I need. What does that mean? I'm willing to pay you for what you want for the house based on the terms that I am trying to get in order for me to make this deal make sense. Now, what makes a good deal? Three things that make a good deal. One could be the equity into the deal. So equity, I'm going to write that down real quick. You got equity into the deal. How much equity does it have in the property? Another thing that makes a good deal is cash flow. Cash flow, baby. We'll put cash flow, baby. What kind of cash flow is this property going to be able to generate for me? So meaning every single month, I'm going to put a tenant in there, and that tenant is going to pay for my debt, which is the loan with the seller. Now, the cash flow, baby, is the difference between whatever the tenant is paying and what your payment is. In between is your cash flow. Now, of course, a lot of times people don't talk about this are expenses, maintenance, repairs, all of that good stuff. So when it comes to buying and holding a property, you got to understand that there is risk involved and there is expenses that are going to need to be accounted for. Property management, all of that good stuff. However, equity, cash flow, what kind of appreciation? I'm not too sure how to spell it. And what kind of tax advantage / depreciation can you take on the property? Appreciation, what is the location? How fast is the location going up? How fast is this property going to appreciate? And all of that amazing stuff. So these are some of the reasons why real estate are one of the best assets to invest in. Going back to negotiating a seller finance deals, we want to make sure that this makes sense. Because remember, if it makes sense, it makes dollars. Let's grow, baby. So let's talk about this. What is one of the first things that you want to negotiate? Well, ideally, you always want to try to get into these properties with zero down. So the first thing that you can negotiate is your down payment. How much does the seller want down? How much is the down payment going to be? Now, for myself, it's very important that I always try to get in with $0 down. Now, if the seller wants to have a down payment involved, I'm okay always giving a down payment. However, I am going to leverage a PML. What is a PML? A private money lender. So I also need to make sure that I account for the return on that private money lender and how much I'm going to be paying them out every single month, which is going to be, it's going to affect my cash flow. So, however, the lower down payment the better the deal, because the less out of pocket you have to come to the table with, or your private money lender has to come out to the table with, if that makes sense. And I hope it does. And if you are gaining something from this right now, please make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment down below what you're learning or how I could provide more value to you. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Follow me on all social media platforms, Chris Ryan Silva. I try to respond to everybody as fast as I can. I want to be able to help you. So next thing that you want to try to negotiate is your payments. What kind of payments are you going to be giving? Now, most of the times when a seller tells me, Chris, is okay, well, I'm open to seller finance, but what about a down payment? And I typically, there's not a specific order for this, but for myself, if someone tells me, no, Chris, you know what, I don't want to seller finance because I'm negotiating with zero down, zero interest, and the payments and all of that good stuff, which we're going to go through in this video. But if they're telling me no, the first thing I start with is, well, listen, what if I were to give you a down payment? Would this be something that you're interested in? Now, a question that sellers have or people have is, Chris, why would a seller finance you a house? I just created a video that you can watch right here by clicking this video that's on top of my face. Click this video, go see why a seller would seller finance you a property. Get out of the mindset, fix your mind, and then understand that there are plenty of reasons why a seller would seller finance you. However, in the case in negotiation, they're like, they're leaning more towards the no than the yes. Then I negotiate a down payment. Well, what kind of down payment what if I were to give you a down payment? Now, for the most times, you guys heard this before, the first person to say the number first loses. Well, in this case, I don't mind saying the first number, but I say the bare minimum. I typically, they will ask, well, what kind of down payment? My rebuttal to that is, well, ideally, I'd rather come in with zero down because I'm giving you the price you want, but what kind of down payment do you want? Now, the reason why I always say that is because I want to know where their headspace is at, because there's been sellers that only want $5,000 down. And sometimes someone might come in and be like, well, I could give you 10, 15, when in reality, the seller only wanted $5,000 the entire time. So that's why you always want to be negotiating in small numbers. Well, I could give you $1,000. I could give you $2,000, $3,000. Oh, you're crazy. Well, what kind of number would you like to be at? That's right there. That right there is going to allow you to negotiate the down payment. Now they're like, oh, well, ideally, I don't know. I'm just not too sure yet. Well, what do you plan on doing with the money? This question is so important when you ask a seller what they plan on doing with the money, because if a seller tells you they just plan on saving it underneath the bed, they plan on putting it in the bank, it's your job as a buyer to educate these people. You have to learn to educate these people. And the more that you educate people, the more opportunity you're going to create for yourself. My next thing is like, listen, well, instead of cashing out and putting this in the bank or putting this under your mattress, why don't you hedge against inflation? Not only am I willing to give you a down payment, however, I will give you interest on your money. So not only are you going to make the price that you want, but you're going to make more money selling it to me, because now you're going to make interest on this deal. So if you plan on saving this underneath your mattress, why aren't you making interest? Now I'm going to give you a rebuttal that typically I use when a seller tells me, well, I plan on giving the money to my kids. My question to the seller is, okay, that is so awesome. Your kids are going to get a lump sum of money, depending on how many kids they have, depending on what they're going to give them. I always like to educate them. Again, educate. We're not here to convince anybody. We're here to educate the seller. So my next question to the seller is, well, okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you think when you give your kids a large sum of money, what do you think they're going to do with the money? Now, the response that I'm waiting for is for the seller to tell me, and this goes back to what I always say, is by asking the right questions, you're going to get the answers that you need. Most of the time, the answer that I'm looking for is, well, the kids are going to spend it. Now, if a seller tells you the kids are going to spend it, then again, you want to go back to the education. Well, why would you want to just give it to your kids so that way you could spend it? Instead, why don't we put the money to work? Why don't you, a seller, finance me the deal? I'll give you the price you want. We create interest on that money. And now you receive cash flow every single month. And instead of you collecting the money, we put that money into a trust where your kids have access to. Now your kids are going to get cash flow, baby, every single month based on the property that you're financing me. Chris, where do you make your money? Well, now I'm going to turn around. I'm going to rent it out to a tenant. Most sellers don't want to do, or a seller doesn't want to do, sometimes they don't want to deal with tenants, termites, toilets, all the other bullshit. So instead, now you own the property, you're taking the tax advantages, you're taking the appreciation, and on top of that, you're giving them the price that they want. You're creating cash flow for yourself, and your seller's creating cash flow. They're not giving their kids a large sum of money. And you're able to create a win-win situation in this case. So first thing that you negotiate is down payment. After that, you're negotiating the payment, the interest. Typically, these payments are amortized over 30 years, just like a standard mortgage. Now, sellers might say, well, Chris, I don't want to wait 30 years. I don't recommend this. I try to stay away from this. I leave this for the end of the negotiation as far as possible. I try not even to bring it up. The next thing is going to be you can negotiate the time frame. How soon you're going to pay them out. What do I mean by that? Well, timeline. You can negotiate a balloon payment. A balloon payment is when the note is due in full at the time of the balloon. It kind of just pops. Your note is due now, Chris, what kind of balloon do you negotiate? Well, again, amortization, how long the length of the loan is, 30 years, always. And the reason why is because I want to have that payment schedule, 30 years. Now, balloon, I want to try to get as long as I can to as far as time frame. So I start off 15 years and then work my down to 10 years and then 5 years. And based on the price that I'm paying, if there's equity in the deal, I know that when that balloon comes up, I could equity refi or I could refinance the property, get the seller paid off in full. That is the exit strategy. Let me break that down for you. If I put a 15-year balloon on this, that means I have to pay out completely the seller within those 15 years. I have to get them paid out. It's still amortized. My payments are still based on 30 years, but I am amortizing it over 15 years. So payments are on 30 years, but I'm making payments all the way up until 15 years. By the year 15, I either have to sell the house or I have to refinance. Those are two exit strategies right there. Is I am going to sell the house, get the seller paid out completely, or I'm going to refinance the house and get the seller paid out completely, just depending if there's enough equity in that time frame. So you want to stay away from balloons. However, you can negotiate this and utilize this in your negotiation. Some of the things that you're negotiating. Quick recap, write this down, take notes. And if you learned something, make sure you like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, I ask for you to share this with somebody that needs help getting started. If you're somebody that wants to get started, don't forget, join my morning Zoom call every Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. As I role play, as I talk about real life situations, I call sellers live, lock up deals live, and I guarantee you could gain a lot from these calls. Recap. What are you negotiating? And at the same time, whoa, this is even like a aha moment for myself, because at the same time, you're still negotiating the price. Okay, listen, I'll charge you you could charge me a down payment, but let's sell it to me at this price. Like, you're still negotiating the price. I'm going to write it on here. Fourth is going to be price. Now, I know there's other things that you can negotiate in a seller finance deal. These are just some of my favorites that I start off with. Is I'll give you the price you want if you give me the terms I need. I'm negotiating the down payment. If they're saying no, I'm going to offer them some sort of down payment. I want minimum down to get into the deal. Second, if they say no down payment, I'm going to offer a little bit of interest. If they say no to that, I'm going to offer the time frame. I'm going to say I'm going to be able to put a balloon on this. We're going to get them paid out. So now if they say, okay, give me the time frame, I'm going to go back and say, okay, I'll give you the time frame. I won't give you the down payment though. I'll pay it off in this time frame. The end goal is to make sure that I am gaining value from this property, not the value of the property value. I'm going to be able to create some cash flow. I'm going to be able to take some appreciation. I'm going to be able to go out there and make money off of the property. That, in my eyes, is what dictates the true value of the property, is what the property can do for me. As a buyer, as an investor, can I utilize this property to make me money? If you like this video, share it, comment, subscribe, and let's grow, baby.